Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Happekotte. I'm the Director of Advising and Retention here at John Wood Community College, and what I have here, or what this video is rather, is a very short video that's going to outline some course changes that we've had over the course of the past few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. Our faculty have been diligently working to revamp their courses to follow COVID-19 guidelines in regards to safe social distancing in the classroom. So in short, our classes have changed in a number of ways. Anything that was face-to-face, or for the large majority, is still face-to-face. We've either had to change classrooms or we've had to change class structure, meaning that any traditional course that was 2 days per week may now likely be 1 day per week in some sort of blended, flexible class option, which I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain all the changes here in this video. And so here is a course schedule here. It's a fake student, a fake course schedule, but it outlines all of the changes that you may see on an actual printable schedule that you would get from the advising office. And so I'm going to go through each of those changes step by step to give you an idea of what those changes look like on an actual printable schedule, as well as what you need to keep an eye on in regards to the days, the times, the room locations, all those things. So without any more talking about what's happening, I'm going to explain these changes. So the first thing that I want to point out here is this economics course. You can see Principles of Economics 1 listed twice. You see the credit hours there, 3 and 3. You are not enrolled in that particular course twice if you have a course that looks like this, a course or courses. You can see here the days, Monday, Wednesday, the times, they're all the same. The difference is the rooms. So it's 2 separate rooms that this class will now be in. And in our lower level of D building, we have 2 rooms, or actually there's 4 classrooms, D024, D025, as well as D022 and D023. That's across the hall from these. They have retractable walls, and it can become one large classroom. So a class like this has upwards of anywhere between 24 and 30 students. We needed to move this class to a larger location to allow for appropriate social distancing. So if you see a course like this on your schedule, the main thing is to understand you're not enrolled in the class twice. It simply had a room change. So just keep an eye out for that and make sure that you go to one of those classrooms, which they're connected. You go into one door, it's the same room either way. The second change that we may have, and this is in very rare situations, but a couple of our courses have changed from in-class to online. This interpersonal communications course that we had in the classroom did change to an online option. So keep an eye out on your course schedule. If you know you didn't enroll in anything online, if you see anything over here, specifically in this area, in the building location, internet, that implies that it's an online course. Again, this didn't happen with maybe 3 classes, so it's very rare, but it is something that you need to keep an eye on. So if you don't intend to be in an online course or don't wish to be in an online course, please contact us and we can help you change it out. The next 2 options that I want to focus on are our new blended flexible course options. We have our traditional blended courses and we have blended flexible courses. So how do you know which is which? Well, first I'm going to talk about the flexible courses. When you look at a course here on your schedule and you see a V section code, most of the time in any normal circumstance, you'd never ever need to pay attention to that. But in this case, with all of these changes, we're asking you to, because you may see a V section, you may see a flex, you may see a V section with no flex. First off, I'm going to look at the sections that have this FLX or FLEX indicator. So for instance, English 101 here. Essentially what these courses are they've moved from 2 days per week to 1 day per week. Again, to accommodate students in a safe social distancing format in the classrooms. So in this instance here, these flex courses, half the class will be meeting on a Monday, half the class will be meeting on a Wednesday. Again, keeping social distancing in mind. So keep an eye out on the schedule. If you enrolled in an English class, you may have changed from Obviously, you've changed from a Monday, Wednesday, but you'll either be in the Monday class or the Wednesday class from the time listed, and possibly in a new room location. You want to keep an eye on that too. These flexible classes are going to be a little bit new because what they are is essentially the first day of class, the first week of classes. You will go to this class, this classroom, this day, that time, the very first week. Each week thereafter may change. Some weeks you may be required to be in the class at that day, at that time. Other weeks you may work remotely. So it could be via Zoom or Teams. It could just be that you don't have to come to class and you're going to do your assignments online that week. It is completely and totally at the discretion of the instructor, so it is extremely important not to miss the first day of class for these flexible options, for all classes for that matter, but especially these. Again, looking at these section codes, you may see another course like this World History class. It's a V section. That implies it's blended, but no flex option. There are fewer of these, but you may have one on your schedule. If you see this V section, that means it's blended, but if you do not see the flex like you see up here, that means it's a traditional blended course. So again, 1 day per week at the time listed, classroom listed. The difference between a non-flex and a flex is the non-flex courses, you will be required to be in class each week, that day, at that time, in that classroom. So it's a little bit more structured or traditional in a sense. It's just 1 day per week. So please keep an eye on those. The last change that I want to point out on this course schedule are lab sciences. So many of our lab sciences have either changed to entirely online courses or they have changed to an online classroom session, which you can see here. So this is a biology class. There's the class and the lab. The classroom portion will be done online, but the lab sections have moved to, again, they're always 1 day per week, but it's moved to a shorter time frame. So these are blended classes. Again, keep an eye on the room number there because it may have changed. But these lab sections are probably different than what you originally signed up for. So be sure to keep an eye on those. The classroom portions, they're all going to be online, but the lab portions may have adjusted slightly. So again, keep an eye on those if you are in a science with a lab. The room numbers are important too. These lab sections have been split up similarly to how the flex courses have, where there's going to be half the lab at one time on Tuesday from 8 to 9:15, and then the next half of the class from 9:30 to 10:45 will be the other half of the class. So in short, that's what these schedule changes look like on a printable schedule. Now I'm going to show you what these changes will look like via your Solar account, which is where we encourage you to go look for these. All right, so starting at the John Wood web page, this is going to be different for depending on what kind of student you are. If you're a brand new student and this is your first time logging into Solar, there are directions in here on how to access your information. You should have received at some point or another, if you're a brand new current student enrolled in courses, you should have received an email to your personal email address from our John Wood admissions office that will show you your login and password information to access your John Wood account. Second year students, this shouldn't be new to you, but I'll walk you through step by step on how to get to where you need to be to view a copy of your schedule in your Solar account. So the first thing that you'll want to do is go into BlazerNet. So at the John Wood webpage, I'm at www.jwcc.edu, our main webpage. Click BlazerNet up here, and then it's going to take you to our Launchpad, our BlazerNet Launchpad. Click your Solar account. Again, if you're a current student, you may already be logged in. That'd be great. Hopefully you have your login and password information that you can just plug this in really quick. If you're a new student, again, if you don't have this information, it should be in your personal email account. If you've already accessed it, then you should have login information. So you go ahead, sign in, and then it's going to take you to a page that looks similar to this. All right, so now I am in my fake student that I used the course schedule for in the first part of this video. And now this is what the Solar account will look like for most of you. Now you can see up here, there's personal information, there's a student tab. Most of you will have a financial aid tab. The important thing here is the student tab. So you can go ahead and click that first and foremost. The second thing that you'll want to do, there's several different course options or course schedule options that you can view. I think that the printable schedule is the most visually appealing, or at least easiest to look at, especially in regards to these changes. So you can go ahead and click that. You select your term, which is fall 2020, and then it takes you to a different version of the course schedule than the one that we were looking at originally, but still has all of the same information. And so again, going over these changes with you to show you what they'll look like on your solar account. Same things apply. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the Econ course. When you look down here at the course titles, it's the way that it probably should look, but when you look up here at the actual subject courses, section codes, the times, you can see here the ECO 101, which is Principles of Economics 1. You see it listed there twice, Monday, Wednesday, 8 to 9:15. But again, the rooms. You see two separate rooms there. So it is actually one individual class. It's just in two separate classrooms. It happens to be one large classroom, or it will be one large classroom by the time you get to campus and get into this class. So it's 2 days a week. It's a traditional course, 8 to 9:15, just like you signed up for it. It's just in a different room location. Again, these rooms are connected. It will be one very large classroom. The second thing here, again, looking at the interpersonal communications, you can see it down here. There's the title, there's the instructor, but up here, CMN 104, that's interpersonal communications. It doesn't have a time there because it's listed as an online course. So very, very few of you may have run into this issue where you see an online course on your schedule that you know you signed up for in the classroom. If you're okay with keeping the class online, that's fine. Just understand that the first day of classes, you'll want to log into your Canvas account and treat this like you treat any other online course. If you don't intend to take an online course, all you need to do is contact the Advising and Retention Office and we can help you change it. The third thing, or the next two things rather, are those flexible classes. So English, World History. Again, down here at the titles, you have a flex option here for English, and then you'll have to go up top here and look and see at those section codes again, remember. So there's English 101. There's that V section code, which implies it's a blended class of some kind. And there's World History, History 111, again, blended class. But looking at these titles, if you have a flex indicator next to your course, it's changed to 1 day per week, time listed. Make sure you check those room locations because it's very, very likely that those have changed too. The flexible course options have changed from 2 days per week to 1 day per week. And you can see here that half the class will meet on Mondays, half the class will meet on Wednesdays. So make sure you check. If you were in a Monday, Wednesday class, you need to make sure, am I a Monday or am I a Wednesday person? And what's the time? Time should be the same, but make sure to check those room locations too. Excuse me. And again, the first week of class, you will go to the day and the time listed at the room listed, obviously. But each week thereafter may change. It will be at the discretion of the instructor. Week 1, you'll be in the class. Week 2, you may work remotely. Week 3, you may be in the class. Week 4, you may work in the class. Week 5, you may work remotely. It's going to depend entirely on the faculty member that you work with. So it is extremely important not to miss classes. The second option here, World History, again, that section code V implies it's blended, but you don't see the flex option here. That is a traditional blended course. So it may have been 2 days per week when you originally signed up for it, like a Tuesday, Thursday. But it just means that it's moved to a blended option. It's 1 day per week only. But the difference between the non-flex and the flex is a non-flex course. You will go to that class that day, Thursday, 9:30 to 10:45 in that classroom every single week. It will be a more traditional option. It's just gone from a traditional 2 day per week to a blended 1 day per week every week. So again, make sure that you go to the first class because your instructor will be sure to clarify that depending on which kind of class you're in. Then the last option, again, that you may see on your schedule are the lab sciences. So you can see here there's a general biology and a lab. Course title doesn't really tell you anything. It's when you get up here to the subject and the course, the section, and all those things. So this is a general biology course. The classroom portion has changed to an online option. So you'll do all of what you traditionally do in the classroom online. And then the lab times have been altered slightly. So in this case, you'll meet face-to-face for the lab 1 day per week, just for a shorter amount of time, for 1 hour and 15 minutes, as opposed to 1 hour and 50 minutes in this particular room. These labs, again, similar to the flex courses, they've split. Half the lab will be at one day and one time, half the lab will be at another day and another time. So be sure to check those because your lab time has likely changed. It should still be along the lines of what you signed up for. However, there could be alterations that may require you to do some schedule changes. So again, this is how we're going to encourage you to look at these changes is through Solar. So please go through, check your Solar account, check your schedule, make sure you know which kind of class you're in, which room locations you're in, and go off of what you see in Solar as opposed to any paper copy of the schedule you may have received before you're seeing this, because things may have changed. You can compare a copy of your paper schedule if you have one to what you see in Solar, and if they match, great, keep your paper schedule, you're good to go. But if not, if you get into your Solar account and you see that it's different than what we discussed or what your paper copy says, go off of what you see in your Solar account. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact the Advising and Retention Office. We can be reached at 217-641-4355 or our email address, advising@jwcc.edu. So again, we apologize for having to make these alterations. None of us could plan for COVID-19, but we are doing everything we can in our power to make sure that we can keep you in class face-to-face as you intended to do while keeping everybody safe. So please review this closely. Please review your schedules closely. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thanks.